ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Welcome back. So today we are going to commence a new journey, a new chapter, a new theme altogether. So today we are going to start chapter 7, which is traditionally known as Jnana Vijnana Yoga, or the knowledge of the Absolute. In the previous 6 chapters, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, we have already discussed earlier that depending on the theme of the chapters, we can divide Bhagavad Gita into 3 sections. First 6 chapters are known as Karma Shatka, and the middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12, known as Bhakti Shatka, and the last 6 chapters, 13 to 18, known as Jnana Shatka. So we see that in the first 6 chapters, the theme is karma. Definitely the other concepts are there. We discussed all those, that is Sankhya, the concept of jnana, that sacrifices, different sacrifices, and that the sacrifices also culminate in jnana, and jnana culminate in nishkama karma, directly or through the process of dhyana. All these things we discussed. But still, the theme is karma. Bhagavan clearly stated what kind of karma he recommends. That is action without any self-interest and with internalized renunciation. In this connection, we discussed many things. Phalgu Vairagya, Yuktam Vairagyam, everything we discussed. So we see here from this chapter, there is a prominent change in the tune. As if till now we were singing Rag Bhairav, and now suddenly we are changing to a new scale like Todi. So there is a prominent change here we can notice. So we see in this section, as we discussed, just said that it is based on, the theme is bhakti. The theme is bhakti, surrender, devotional service. Everything will be discussed. Actually, in this particular chapter, we will learn to attain a perfect Krishna consciousness. See, in the last chapter, Bhagavan actually gave a glimpse of this, that he gave his conclusion in the last verse of chapter 6, that is yogi namapi sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate mam same yukta tamo mataha. So who is the greatest yogi? The greatest yogi is he who always remembers the Lord within the heart and renders transcendental loving service to him. So he is the greatest yogi. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. And in this connection, we discussed about the particular word bhajana, bhajate, which comes from the root word bhaj dhatu, which means, is associated with kind of service. There is a clear distinction between worshipping and bhajana. All these things we discussed. So we can connect this from that particular verse, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. And that is actually the starting point of this particular section. This is the link, we can say. And this madgatena antaratmana, that is by a kind of attachment to the Lord. And here also in this, in the beginning of this chapter, we see the particular word Maya Saktamanaha Partha. We will chant first, and then we will be able to understand. Okay. So this is the first verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayyasaktamanah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasyasi Tachrinu. Synonyms. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Lord said, Mai, to me, Asakta Manaha, mind attached, Partha, O son of Pratha, Yogam, self-realization, Yunjan, practicing, Mata Ashrayaha, in consciousness of me, that is Krishna consciousness, Asamshayam, without doubt, Samagram, completely, Mam, me, Yatha, how, Jnasyasi, you can know, Tat, that, Shunu, try to hear. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Now hear, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So we see these two particular words, as I just mentioned, how they are one in essence. That is Madgatena Antaratmana and Mayyasakta Manaha. And Shraddhavan Bhajate Mam, this particular phrase, and Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha. These are also very similar in essence. So this is the connection between these two chapters. So we see that in the previous section of the that is Karma Shatka, as we just said, the theme was karma, so the tune was different, and there we see the perspective was also different, like it was from the perspective of the jiva, that is we. And now in this Bhakti Shatka, this section, this 7 to 12, these verses, these chapters, we will see the theme is Bhakti, as we just said, Bhakti Shatka, and the perspective is also different. It is from the God's perspective. So what we were watching from the same platform, now we are going to have a bird's eye view. That is, we will come to know from the perspective of God. So we see that in this particular chapter, Bhagavan will give idea on many things, among which a few are very important. So first we will have an overview of this chapter. See, in this chapter there are 30 verses altogether. And in the first 3 verses we will come to know about the importance of hearing, how we can know the Lord by the process of hearing. That will be discussed. And from verses 4 to 11, we will come to know that Sri Krishna is the source of everything. Everything means both the inner things as well as the spiritual things. That is both the material energy and the spiritual energy. And then from 12 to 14, he will discuss about the bondage of the gunas, three guna, sattva, rajas, tamas, and the liberation. And also that Sri Krishna is also the controller of these gunas, and by surrendering unto him, we can actually be liberated from this bondage of gunas. And from 15 to 19, he will tell about four kinds of miscreants people, dushkrutinaha, and four kinds of people who are pious, that is sukrutinaha. So dushkrutinaha and sukrutinaha, miscreants and pious. And that the miscreants don't surrender to the Lord and that they are ignorant. On the other hand, the pious are knowledgeable and they are surrendered. In the next section, that is 20 to 25, we will hear from the Lord about the worshippers of different devas and also the impersonalists and their upasana. And from 26 to 30, we will come to know the bondage and liberation of the jivas. So we see in the first verse, Maya sakta manaha partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yatha jnasyasi tachrinu. Here only this last word, tach shrinu, it is a yuktakshara, tat shrinu. So shrinu, that is the importance of shravanam. So by hearing only, you will be able to receive all the knowledge. And what kind of knowledge? That will be discussed in the next verse. So we see that why hearing is so important. As we know, the first limb of Navavidha Bhakti is Shravanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasya, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So the first is Shravanam. So what happens by hearing is the most important thing, that is our heart becomes purified, Chitta Shuddhi. And in the purified heart only the transcendental knowledge can be dawned. So then this happens. And then what happens by the transcendental knowledge, all the passion and ignorance, the effect of passion and ignorance, that is the effect of rajas and tamas, are removed, is removed. The effect is removed. And then is the sadhaka will be fixed in the Shuddha Sattva state, that is the pure goodness state. And then automatically the bhajana will be matured. And if this is matured, that is understanding of the complete science of Krishna is possible here in this stage, which means complete tattva jnana. So these are the stages from hearing, step by step. Complete tattva jnana can be received. So we see that there are few beautiful verses written in Śrimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, second chapter, from 17 to 21. I will chant those verses. Shrinvatam swakatha Kṛṣṇah punyashravanakirtanah hridyantasthoya bhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatityam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishthiki तदारजस्तमो भावः कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतिरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे. So, asamshayam samagram, that is understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. In sorry. So, it means that only by hearing from the proper, from the right source. Here Arjuna is so privileged to have to receive this knowledge from Lord himself. And then the devotee becomes completely Krishna conscious, and he understands the science of Krishna by the process of hearing only. So this is the importance of hearing, and that is why Bhagavan is saying that Shrinu, and this Shrinu is very important here. So we see, and in this connection, we should keep this in mind, that hearing should always be from right source. We can hear from many people, but we have to check whether the knowledge that we are hearing is authoritative or not. Sorry, Hare Krishna. So, in this connection, we have to keep this in mind. Okay, so the next verse. ज्ञानं तेहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्यम्यशेषतः यज्ज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोन्न जिज्ञातव्यम् अवशिष्यते. Jnanam, phenomenal knowledge, te, unto you, aham, I, sa, with, vijnanam, numinous knowledge, idam, this, vakshyami, shall explain, asheshataha, in full, yat, which, jnatva, knowing, na, not, iha, in this world, bhuyaha, further, anyat, anything more, Jnatavyam, knowable, avasishyate, remains. Translation. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this is very important. What kind of knowledge is this? Jnanam teham savijnanam. So it is a complete knowledge which includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. And this is called transcendental knowledge. And we see in this connection, the qualification of hearing is also very important. As we discussed, the qualification of the speaker, that is, as Krishna is the greatest of all authorities because he is the source of everything. So, if we receive knowledge directly from Bhagavad Gita, that is, of course, the best option, as Arjuna was so privileged, we just said. But we are not so that fortunate, so we can directly grasp it, hear it from this Śrimad Bhagavad Gītā, and in proper disciplic succession, in proper Guru Parampara. That is very, very important. And here in this verse, the qualification of the listener. So we see here also a very beautiful verse is there in Śrimad Bhagavatam in first canto, first chapter, Shloka 8, verse number 8. There it is mentioned that Brūyuhu snigdhasya shishyasya guravo guhyamapyut. So a disciple, snigdhasya shishyasya. Snigdhasya means, snigdha means submissive or polite. And Shraddhavan is already mentioned. So the listener must be faithful and submissive. And if we can remember, in the beginning of fourth chapter, probably in verse number 3, we also heard that Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. Bhagavan said that I am going to give you the mysterious knowledge because you are my devotee and friend. So a friend and a devotee is by default a person who is faithful, submissive, and without envy. So these are the qualifications of a good listener or a disciple, we can say. And this particular word, that is yaj jnatva na iha bhuyah anyat jnatavyam avasishyate. So by knowing this, nothing will remain unknown. So, which means by knowing this, you will know everything possible in this entire creation. So here in this connection, there is a verse in Mundaka Upanishad 1.3. Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavatiti. So by knowing which, everything is known. So that is also here mentioned by the Lord. And I will tell you in full, Vakshami, in the first line, Vakshyami asheshataha. So I will not keep anything within me. I will tell you in full. And that is also the quality of a perfect guru. A guru always tries to give aseshataha, in full, to the disciple. So here we see in the qualification of the hearer and the qualification of the speaker. That is the qualification of the disciple and the qualification of the guru is so beautifully mentioned here in these two verses. And we see in the next verse, Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tattvataha. Manusyanam, of men, sahasreshu, out of many thousands, kaschit, someone, yatati, endeavors, siddhyaye, for perfection, yatatam, of those so endeavoring, api, indeed, siddhanam, of those who have achieved perfection, kashchit, someone, mam, me, vetti, does know, tatvataha, in fact. Translation: out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. It is so important. See, there are so many people in this world, but we know that very, very few are there who really try to know the absolute truth. And in this connection, Bhagavan says that Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. So among thousands of people, very few actually endeavors for the siddhi, that is for perfection. So this endeavor for perfection is very important. We will come to know this very soon. So as in the Gita Mahatmya, we know Shankaracharya writes that Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Deva Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karma Pekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Here also he mentions clearly that is there should be only one action, and that is to please the Lord. That is his seva. Transcendental devotional service, or transcendental loving service of the Lord. Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. So that is the actual endeavor for perfection. So we see, we say that bhakti yoga is easier to perform. In what sense it is easier? If we have understood properly that the qualification of the people of this Kali Yuga is very limited. Our lifespan is shorter. We are disturbed by different kind of calamities, health issues, etc., social problems. We have very limited intellect and memory power. We have very limited speculative power. So everything is very limited for us, for the people of this Kali Yuga. So Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Nishkama Karma, don't speak of anything about Nishkama Karma Yoga, because unless a person is completely surrendered, it is not possible to completely forgetful of the fruits of action. That is, okay, I am just concentrating on my actions. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. We have learned this, but to implement in our life, unless we are surrendered, it is next to impossible. So we see that bhakti yoga is easier in that sense. That is, we all, everybody in this Kali Yuga is capable, is qualified to practice bhakti yoga. We have that ability. Definitely some other points are also there associated with it. We have to engage ourselves under proper proper instructions. That is, the guidelines should be very important, is very important. not only guideline, uh, the you know that is why I just said that is the disciplic succession, and right guru, right associations, all these things are very important, we all know that. So in that sense, bhakti yoga is easier, but it does not mean that it is very easy. Anybody can very playfully practice this. No, definitely not. In this connection, there is a very beautiful verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.101. श्रुति स्मृति पुराणादि पंचरात्र विधिं विना ऐकान्तिकी हरिर्भक्तिरुत्पतायैव कल्पते. So devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Puranas and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. So if one is engaged in devotional service, he must follow the authorized Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra under the guidance of a qualified, a bona fide spiritual master. So it is very important. Without this, now see, there are few people who also practice bhakti yoga, but without all these disciplines. So in that case, it will be fruitless. The bhakti yoga uh, will be fruitless. So in that sense, it is easy at the same time. At the same time, it is tough to perform or to practice. And also, it is a point that by the devotional service, following proper scriptural injunctions or under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master and leaders, we can actually uh, understand the qualities of the Lord. That is, he is the source of everything, or that he is Bhagavan, that is full of six opulences. All these things a devotee can understand because the mercy, by the mercy of the Lord, it is the mercy of the Lord by which he comes to know this. And here also in this connection, there is a beautiful verse in Nectar of Devotion, that is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.238. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेद् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियैः सेवोन्मुखे हि जीवाद्वौ स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदः. सेवोन्मुखे हि जीवादौ स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदः. Swayameva spuratyadaha. So it is a direct realization, direct revelation by the Lord, by his mercy, by which a sadhaka gets that by continuous devotional service. Because you see, Attah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavid grahyam indriyahi. By the material senses, it is actually never possible to understand the Lord. So, it is by the process of service, by the transcendental loving service to the Lord, it is possible. Okay. So, we see that as we discussed in the beginning, of today's class, that in the previous 6 chapters, we have seen everything from the perspective of jivas. And that also we have understood probably by this time, that we are actually not the master, we are the tenants. We are actually forcefully occupied, we have occupied the possessions of the Lord. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagattena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grudha kasyas vidhanam. And all the problems happening in this world is due to this tendency of lording over the material nature. And we are actually doing this all the time, everybody of us. We are actually the tenants of this house. House means this material world. We have no right on it. See, a tenant, maybe he has occupied the ground floor of a particular building, and maybe the master, that is the owner of the house, is not living in that particular house. Maybe he is living in some other country, but his ownership will always be there. If the tenant thinks also that, okay, I am the owner of this house, because nobody is there, nobody can be seen, nobody is visible. So, but that does not mean that he is the owner of the house. So that is the condition of the jivas. The jivas think themselves the master, but actually they are not. They are actually the servants. And the moment the jiva understands this, that he is a servant, he is the eternal servant of the Lord, who is the eternal master of everybody, of all the jivas, then actually see the mystery of creation, or the purpose of creation is also solved then. Because when the jiva understands his constitutional position as a servant, Jibero Sharupai Krishna Nitto Dash. So the moment he understands this, the purpose of this creation actually gets its meaning. And the Lord becomes very happy. Definitely the reason why he created this material world is completely solved and resolved. So if everybody understands his constitutional position and endeavors to go back to Godhead, then definitely God will be very happy. And that is why he is giving all the knowledge how a jiva can understand him, and by that understanding how he can actually try to satisfy him. So everything will be discussed here. Okay, I would like to continue, but the next section is from 4 to 11, where we will understand that Bhagavan is a source of everything. So is it better to have long classes, or to have frequent classes? So in that case, we can stop here and continue in our next class, the next section. Okay. वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।